Let's learn. Shkoyach. Now, if you can learn if you're touching your shoes. Okay. We're up to Klal Hey. Klal Hey.
Can I remind you of a joke? Can I say a joke that reminds me of? Somebody was explaining to her Shmuel Birnbaum how he listens to Shirim while he drives. So Shmuel Birnbaum is like, how could you listen? How could you drive when you're concentrating there, thinking about a shir? He's like, don't worry, Rebbe, I don't think. So touching my shoes, I can't learn when I'm touching my shoes. That's Steve.
So you don't think, all right.
I'm learning. Okay, now I'm learning.
You know this the story with the Chofetz Chaim? Zatzal with Rav Schwab. Zatzal. He was a bocher, and the Chofetz Chaim asked him famously, he writes it in his book. Chofetz Chaim asked him, how come you're not a Kohen? He said, what do you mean I'm not a Kohen? Because my father's not a Kohen. No, wrong story. Excuse me. That is a story. He asked them, Gemara says, the Chumash, right, says that when you ate the man, it had all the taste, whatever you thought. That's the taste of whatever. He says, so what happens if someone ate the man and wasn't thinking? What taste did it have? Of course, Ashab didn't have an answer. He was a kid, right? So he answered, when you don't think, it has no taste. Okay, now we're going to learn. Klal Hey, Tziv Zayin, V'da. You should know that Shem Sha'os L'Hoitzi Diba Al Chaveroi. Just like it's prohibited to speak Lashon Hara on another, Kein Al Chafotzav Os L'Hoitzi Diba. You're also not allowed to spread Lashon Hara, or say Lashon Hara about a person's possession. V'zeh Motzi Moed Bam Shen Rayim says this is a very common situation. The one storekeeper spreads rumors about another storekeeper's merchandise. Okay, and it's all because out of Gemara says that one, businessman, I don't know the exact word, is jealous of the other. So they spread. Now that also can apply, not between two storekeepers, but between a person who spreads, goes to a pizza store, he didn't like the pizza, and he tells everybody how bad the pizza was. Besides the fact that it's subjective, right? Because it's taste, and maybe you didn't like the pizza.
Right.
You didn't like the pizza. But others might like the pizza. Besides that, it's Lashon Hara unless a person actually approaches you, as we'll learn later with Torah, and says, I want to go get pizza. Could you tell me something about this pizza store? Maybe you're there. And I assume you also have to say, listen, this was my impression. It could be it was a bad day. It could be all kinds of things. But that would be Lashon Hara to spread about another person's chafotzov. Isu super Lashon Hara shasha Torah saper gnus chavera fila emes u afil b'yechidi. Sivches. The Isu to say Lashon Hara, the Torah answered, is even if you say it alone. Certainly, if you have a partner in crime, that's certainly Yosef. And then it's a greater sin, because people will trust you more in what you said when there's two people saying it. And this person will be disgraced when the people hear this story from two. When we say Stam Lashon Hara, Kavani b'chol gavne. In all cases, levad in nefarish b'edya, unless we specify. In other words, one person, two person. Okay. Oh, it's a short one. Do another one. Yeah, let's do another one. It's not so short, but okay. Klal Vav. Here, because you've already used Kabbalah Lashon Hara, Shmiras Lashon. Here we're going to talk. Until now, we talk about speaking Lashon Hara. Here we're going to discuss being Mekabel and listening to Lashon Hara. And what should be a person's reaction in such a situation that someone's saying Lashon Hara? And if, let's say, a guy gets stuck, he's in the bus, he can't get off the bus, and everyone around him is talking about something. What does he have to do so that he's not over on Kabbalah's Lashon Hara, Shmiras Lashon Hara, Midaraisa, Voidha, Binyanim, Ubayud Besif. Aleph, also the Kabbalah Sheminata. We start with that. It's also to be Makabal Lashon Hara, Ben Shumatvam Sheminadum Labalkaim. Whether the Lashon Hara is about something that's been other than Labalkaim, or Minadum Sheminadum Chaveru, and Shalinamin Belimein, what does it mean? It's also to be Makabal. Shalinamin Belimein, Shasibram, so we're not allowed to believe it as truth. Kadeze Yivuza Beinenu, because if we do accept as truth, we will look down at that person. We should never love. Right? It says that even if I didn't agree, the person listening, I didn't agree explicitly to what the guy's saying. But I didn't, in other words, I didn't in any way encourage his story. I didn't respond to it. But if I believed it, I'm over. Because if I did, I was Shana Sabin Bikaflaim, then he's double over, transgresses doubly. Shumasaper Umekabel. If he's masking beferish to the sea person, then he's also over on Sefer Lashon Hara. You're over the Isser of Leisisa Shem Hashav. In the Medrash Tesh Zuhi Azhar the Makabel Lashon Hara. Leisisa Shem Hashav is an Isser being Makabel Lashon Hara. Levad Shar Lovin Asenim Starfim is that's besides all the losses says and essays that occur as we spoke in the Psicha when you listen to Lashon Hara. Such a person who's Makabel Lashon Hara should be thrown to the dogs. Shenemar, the Isa of Lesisa Shem Hashav, and then it says, Lakelav Tashichunoisoi. Oidam. Further, it said, that the punishment for someone Makabel Lashon Hara is worse than the one saying it. Okay, it doesn't explain why, but the one who's saying it is saying he's being my friend and affair, but if you Makabel it, it's sort of like you're putting the nail in the coffin type of thing. You know, you're posting based on that, and you're going to believe it now. Maybe. So now here's an interesting thing. Even listening to Lashon Hara, you're not Makabel. Just to listen to Lashon Hara is an Isur. After even if when I'm listening it, I have no intention of believing it. Being that he's listening, he's over on an Isur also. There is a difference between Shmiya and Kabbalah, between just listening and believing, becoming That by Shmiya, there's only an Isa, you're only over listening if what the guy is telling you has no relevance to you for the future. But if there is relevance, he's telling you, you're thinking of going into business with this guy, and he's telling you that the guy's a shifty guy. You can't trust him. So in that case, you're allowed to listen. In that case, you are allowed to listen. But if it is relevant and for a future, if it's true, you're going to maybe for example, if I understand from the beginning of the story, I see where it's going. She writes that the person speaking wants to show me. That the person, this person, Shimon, let's say, is not trustworthy. Right? And Levi's intention had been to bring him into his business. Take him as a partner, or to make a shidduch. Anything like that. So you're allowed to listen to what the Mesaper is saying. It doesn't mean the Mesaper is or not Oivan Lashon Hara. That's, we've learned. He has to bring Chaim L'Teilus. He has to tell you why he's saying it. But as far as the listener, he's allowed to listen to take it in as a possibility. Take the proper steps to protect himself.
Does he have to tell him that he's only listening because there's a toelis?
I don't, we'll see. I don't remember seeing something like that.
Because it might be, I mean, like a lifnei iver. Like, don't think I'm just listening.
Well, it's not lifnei iver because the Masaper is saying the story on its own, right? So I'm not causing it.
But also, it's also it's not lifnei iver, but you're not allowed to.
Maybe Messiah.
And also, there's an issue. You're not allowed to have people think you're doing an avera.
Right? Reason the kiyim. Maybe. I mean, all right. Let's see what Chaim says something about that. Came in the Masher writes the Shema being that what I'm listening for, and I'm not listening so I could hear bad stuff about the guy. He just wants to protect himself from a possible situation in the future. You shouldn't have a damage, a loss, or or machoikis, or kaiga. Also, there's another case scenario where you're allowed to listen, even if it's not directly, it's not negaya to the one listening. But if I listen and hear what the guy is saying, I'll be able to help others. Then it'll be for example, he wants to hear, so not that he's going to believe, but he's going to make his personal investigation to find out if it's true. And if he finds out it's true, he's going to rebuke the person. He feels he has, an influence on the person. He feels that he could help him. So he's listening so that he'd be able to do that. And perhaps by this, the sinner will do tshuva, or he'll return what he stole, or will appease the one who he embarrassed, he wiped the floor with him. The reasons for the same thing, because it is considered, I'm doing it not to hear bad about the person, but for a tayelis. But that's all shmir. But to believe it, what you heard from the Mesaper, that's also in any case. So it's a gesher tzar ma'od, as we say. Because on one hand, you're taking into account what you heard, but in any other relationship with this guy, you have to view him as a regular kosher Jew. You could, if you want to do a business deal with him, so you could tell your lawyer to put in some protective clauses and stuff. But otherwise, you give him a real shalom aleichem when you meet him in shul. You give him an aliyah, because you're not allowed to believe that he's a crook. So it's hard. It's hard to do that in your mind. Okay, let's do Shriya Halashon. We are up to Shabbos Chira Perik Yud Gimel. I think Chofetz Zayin Cheshvan. Is that right? Umat Tov Enochaim. What is correct? L'snai k'moshe shamati, as I heard, shechacham echad yatz lo yavoy. That a chacham gave advice to a friend of his, shaliyamed b'shum pam b'kayitz b'Shabbos Kodesh. Then in the summertime, on Shabbos Kodesh, you shouldn't stand around. Achas Suda Shlishis. I guess they would finish Suda Shlishis, but it was still, they had to wait for Ma'ariv. The summer, the days are long. Don't stand around. Around the shul or beis medrash to tell something to somebody. Why? Because once you got a conversation, the crowd starts growing. It's human nature. Someone else comes out, he sees you talking, and 3 becomes 4. Chamisha, Shisha. Until you have a whole kabura. And then they start focusing about the past week. They share the news. And it's impossible that it won't develop into Lashon Hara and Laitonis. And it was all caused by the first guy. I guess instead of going into base measure, taking out a tehillim, went outside to shmooze. See the future and you stay away from such a situation. He says someone who until now did these destructive things, and he caused people to sin. The right to Taki the Snapshot, now he wants to do tshuva. So we know what Chazal told us, with the same thing that they sinned, that's how they do tshuva. So step number 1 is first of all, you have to accustom yourself to stay away from these groups, even though it's your nature, right? You're a shmoozer. This is what comes natural to you. Now you got to break that nature. It's hard. Everyone knows you. Everyone's looking forward to schmoozing with you, and you have to break that nature. And like I said, stay in the base medrash. Take out a tail and take out a chumash. I guess don't speak the rechilas amongst the people. I guess. And then you should also try to be mazakeh the rabbim by speaking to them about this. Make a Shmiras Halashon group, and encourage them to be more careful in Torah mitzvah, and specifically to try to make peace between people. And that's by you use your speech for the wrong thing, and you may have caused machlokes. So now use your speech for the right things, for rebuking, for teaching, for making peace between people. Okay, now let's do another one. Perik Yudalit. Especially Moshe just came, why should he lose out? Well, this is really a parallel to what we learned before in the Sefer. Here we're going to explain how a person should stay away from listening to Dibur Masurim. He says very, very much that a person should be careful with what it says in the Gemara. A person should allow himself to listen to Dvarim B'Telem, not Dvarim B'Surim. Dvarim B'Telem, says because the ears are the first part of the body that's, so to speak, singed, burnt in Gehenna. In the brackets, what's the explanation? The lake has just like in a physical fire. In Nichas Be'ez Abayis, if it starts burning in a house, the first place it burns as it goes, right? Wherever it comes first, that's what it burns first. So too, it's true by the spiritual fire. The spiritual fire of Gehenna that's created by the tumah that you brought upon yourselves. So the first aver, the first limb that was nitma, who can take it? So that's first. That gets the punishment. Therefore, he says, as far as listening to Dibur Masurim, here he says Dibur Masurim. So it's the ears where the Avera started, because you listened. If they become tummy immediately. And then from the ears it goes to the heart. That's the time of the heart. If you believe it. Right? So then you go even Kabbalah, which is in the heart, so to speak. וכן כי אגב בשאר דברים שהם שלא כדאי סתר. It's to over b'zal alav v'sisa shem and shav that you are even on the lisa that we learned of Kabbalah's Lashon Hara shu totally believe. Ukidiyisa as it's brought in Sefer Charedim and Mitzvah Sleisase Shabbatayra Hatuliyas believe. The Charedim categorizes the mitzvahs and averas. So in the list that's Tluyas believe, that's done with the heart, you have Kabbalah's Lashon Hara, Vakenos Naim, and therefore their ears. Rishon, so they are the first that get burned. The Kabbalah Einish Begehenna. B'chol came to the Shmai Divrei Lashon Hara Chaver, and certainly to hear Lashon Hara, and it's not the Yitzhak to my drum b'teilim, but certainly not to listen to Lashon Hara. Davanu Habi Yosegado Navera is way greater. Okay.
Yeah.